Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Debbie.
So this is our special meeting on December 7th, and I would like to call the Public Art Commission meeting to order. Hey!
Hello, sorry I'm late.
It's okay. Nice jacket. It's always been, man.
What is old is new.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna, is it okay if I call the meeting to order? Yeah, okay. And then, you want me to do roll call? Okay,
Okay, so Chairman,
present.
Vice Chair Peterson,
Present.
Commissioner Wong,
Present.
Commissioner Burke,
Here.
Commissioner Henry,
Here.
and then Mayor Pro Tem is probably at the state of the city.
So I guess next is the agenda, right? To approve the agenda. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Awesome. Okay. So
All in favor?
aye.
Hi.
Next thing is, do we have any public comments? No. Come on, public.
You're all staring at me as if I'm supposed to say something.
We're just checking the screen.
All right, so next on our agenda is communications. So since Mayor Pro Tem is not here, then we don't have any from the city council. Then next would be commissioner communications. So our lovely commissioners, do we all have anything to communicate?
I do not.
Nothing. Well, for me, I believe my term is running out. We're just waiting for new appointments, so I'll be here until we get the new appointment. And I've thought about staying on, but at the moment, like I have other pressing, but we all do. But I also think it's a good opportunity for other folks to serve. And even when I'm not part of the commission, like I'm happy to support and help out. That's my announcement.
And we'll check the term limits for everybody, and then if there's any actions to be taken, I'll send out an email to let you guys know. I have to check the city clerk's office first. But to be sure you're not the only commissioner.
Okay.
Well, I mean, are we talking about in this room?
Correct.
Well, once.
You might, I'm not sure. Just, I'm thinking
You know, you all sound very muffled to me. It is really hard to understand what you're all saying. Every now and then, everybody stops talking and looks at me, and I'm assuming you said something requiring an answer. So there you are.
we'll try to talk towards you because the mic is by the TV. So
That sounded much better, actually. Thank you.
and I'm also talking a lot louder. So we were talking about term limits. So Chair Wynn mentioned that she will be terming out this year, but that we'll wait and see what happens with the council appointments. But I mentioned that she might not be the only commissioner terming out. So I'll check with the city clerks, and then I'll let all of you know what your terms are and what the next steps would be.
Well stated and clearly said. I like that. It's good to be able to understand what you're saying.
Okay, great. So if there's no other commission communications, then that should be staff liaison communications.
So the only thing I wanted to share is that we have a new planning manager that just started on Monday. His name is Matt Chang. We did send you guys some information about him. In addition to Matt, we will also have a associate planner starting next Monday. The following Monday after that, we'll have our second associate planner start, and then that Wednesday we'll have our third associate planner start. So our planning staff will finally be here, and we'll have some support. So
And then Margaret can go to the spa, which is well deserved, for a few months.
no, and then I'll be able to focus on the artist-friendly resolution because I need to work on that with the city attorney. So that'll be my next thing.
Sounds
Good.
Thank-
By the way, our city attorney is not joining us tonight, I'm guessing.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because I see we do have a 17-page attachment that I have an awful lot of comments on, and it would be really good if whoever wrote the document that was submitting it to us for comments was actually here to hear the comments.
And we should like keep our eye on that, especially with the BLM mural that's been approved and it's going on. So I want to make sure our artist-friendly policy is aligned with supporting them. Okay, great. So the next item is the public art projects exhibitions license agreement. I hope you all got a chance to review it. And I'd like to open the floor to discussion if there's any feedback from anyone.
Prior to that, then, can I just share that during the December 1st council meeting, the direction that the city council provided was that they wanted us to prioritize local artists and also essentially permanent artwork, because the way that we had drafted the RFP originally was based off of temporary artwork, but they wanted it to be open to also permanent artwork.
So either or permanent or temporary.
Do they realize that permanent will throw a lot more costs for the city?
Well, you have to read the agreement to understand that point.
That's a major,
Yeah.
that's a major cost. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know that, but. Maintenance on that,
Mhm.
like I hadn't even thought about that. You know, I would love for something permanent, but the funding that we're giving and, you know, but just one thing on it.
Mhm.
Well, if I might, Madam Chair, the agreement that was included, I have had a chance to go over it and review it. And without getting at first into the weeds and the nitty gritty of it, I think we should talk about what our intentions were, because I'm not sure that everything is worked out as it was supposed to. At our meeting 2 months ago, and I see that it's not included here in the minutes, but I'll amend that when we get to that point. We were talking about the money the city had for the exhibitions that were going to be happening, that had to happen before the end of the fiscal year. And one of the things that I said was, and we would like to see a contract that goes along with that. Now, I see that we have an agreement here, but I have to say that this agreement is really supposed to be for like the BLM mural, and the people that we are hiring to do these other things. This is not the agreement we would hand them at all. I think we have a fundamental miscommunication here. This is great if you have an artist who is offering to put a piece of art on city property and leave it there for a long time, and they're not being paid. That is not what's happening with the agreement with the monies that we have coming forward. We are going to be paying for some of the art to be produced, and this contract is not the contract that we would use for that. Nor is it necessarily artist friendly, and it is also extremely lengthy. There are 14 pages of text on here, not including the exhibits. You know, I've done, as in the past, when I've pulled up the agreement from West Hollywood, it was 8 pages of text and the rest was agreements. And I've got a whole bunch of real specific nitpicks about this, which we can go into whenever you want. But I think that we have a fundamental problem here. This is not the contract that we can offer the artists that we are going to be paying to produce work for us by the end of this fiscal year.
And in the past, when we had a municipal gallery, the contract wasn't this lengthy. Is it because these are going to be outdoor public artworks that we have this license?
The Civic Center Art Gallery agreements were probably around the same length, because that agreement is based off of our standard professional services agreement, and I know that is multiple pages as well.
At some point, I mean, I have a whole bunch of marked up items. I don't know if the commission wants to go through those. I can do however you want. We could speak directly with city attorney. But there's a lot of problems in here. not the least of which, there's a few significant typos. Like they're talking about the Visual Artists' Rights Act, but he calls it or the city attorney calls it the Visual Licenses Rights Act. It is not called the Visual Licenses Rights Act. It's called VARA. Visual.
What number is that?
That would be on page 5 of the agreement, page 5 of 15. Actually, I can go through from the beginning, and there are an awful lot of issues, but on section 9 under ownership, there's a whole bunch of problems with this. And I think that it would be very helpful if city attorney were able to work with somebody who is more familiar with artwork and artwork terms, because apparently this attorney is not. For instance, they're saying the artwork here has to be unique and original. Says who? I mean, unique has a very specific meaning within the art world community. So if something is part of an edition, then it doesn't work.
No, I think, for me, I interpret that language as the artist cannot appropriate or copy somebody's work, that this has to be truly the artwork of the artist.
So if Richard Prince takes a
No, like saying like this, I did this and this is not mine.
And does not infringe upon copyright or the
Oh,
rights.
okay.
Yeah.
I get
There's
that
like
part.
the second
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
it's like in the context,
Yeah.
like it is.
Like this is truly
copyright.
your artwork. Because like there are people, right, who are taking somebody's art and saying like, well, this is mine, because I've seen this language before.
But that could
Yeah.
be an active art. So,
Well, this is like public art language.
well, if you stomp on it, displays urinal outside.
Can I just back up for one second? I'm sorry, I missed the last meeting, which I know we gathered for, and that was really to talk about a request for proposal language. Right, and that's basically, because I know you guys were working on that, and that's what was done, right? And then, I mean, the last time that we were talking, and then we were talking about these 3, public art, we were interested in putting out these requests for proposals. And then this has come in. And then meantime, the city council has said, yes, we approve this, but we would like it to be permanent and ideally local artists. That this is the same 3 things that we were thinking of, and at that point, we were thinking it could be even dance, performance, or, and I mean, it's a fairly small amount of money, right, like 7,000, 5,000, right? So, okay, I just wanna make sure we're all on the same page,
Yeah.
because I saw this and I was like,
Yeah.
so Commissioner Burke, I like, he was like, wow, is this for our, dance performance?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Okay, so I felt like maybe I missed something, I just wanted
Yeah.
to have clarity.
And just going back to Commissioner Wong's, like, I know some artists like use appropriation as part of their practice, but I think this language is like, this is yours.
Hmm.
That's it. Whether you, like, your practice is appropriating or whether you perform, whatever, like, this is just to secure that this is in fact like your artwork. That's my understanding.
But yeah, there is definitely like a fundamental disconnect in terms of what the agreement is for and what we will be requesting
Mhm.
the artists to do.
Mhm.
So that, I mean,
Is there ideas of like having different tiers of contracts, or we're just figuring this out?
Well, yeah, and I get that. One thing you might want to consider is that this contract seems like it was intended for the Black Lives Matter mural, right? It does seem like that. There's a fundamental problem here in that the mural was designed by whatever, the licensee. So the kids, the club, the, what's it called? The Anti-Racist Club?
Anti-bias club.
Anti-Bias Club. That club is the licensee who is approaching us and asking for permission to be able to put that on there. That licensee, however, does not own the copyright to the artwork. The artwork would be owned by the artist who paints it, right? So we need to that's a very fundamental thing, is like the licensee is not necessarily the artist and the copyright holder. So there needs to be a distinction made as to those, who owns what. Also, there's a very simple thing. They give in section 9, under 9.4, is it 9.32. They say we have to give a copyright notice where practicable, and it just says title of artwork. That is not a copyright notice. Okay, I know a copyright notice when I see one, and it always begins with a circle C, Option G on your Macintosh keyboard, and it would give the artist's name and optionally the year, although you do not need to include the year anymore. That is a proper copyright notice, and you could mention the title of the artwork. But a copyright notice is not simply title of the artwork. Somebody needs to tell the city attorney this. I could go on.
Keep going, you're on it, let's go.
Okay, section.
Wait, hold on.
Should we split hairs on this? If this is fundamentally, like, why waste even
Yeah,
time
exactly.
on this?
Well, we
Yeah.
can, although I gotta tell you, there's a whole bunch of small mistakes in this that are gonna get transferred over to the very next thing, okay? Like, for instance, it says licensee shall retain Title 17 US Code Section 106 copyrights in the artwork. Does that mean we don't recognize European copyrights or copyrights from other parts of the world? Why are they being so specific about this? All you have to do is say that licensee shall retain copyrights in the artwork. That's all you have to say. You don't have to be very specific because you couldn't get challenged on this. It seems like as you go through these 17 pages of text, there's an awful lot of specificity that just doesn't need to be there. You know, I could go on.
Do we need to form an ad hoc committee for this? Because I agree, like, for us as a commission to, like, splitting hairs is, right now is not the time. I mean,
And I get that. Madam Chair, if you're looking for somebody to volunteer to be on such a subcommittee, I would.
Thank you. So, yeah, this is not like, we're gonna be here forever. Do that. And my concern also is that we're just gonna keep postponing
Yeah.
and then we're not gonna have anything. You know what I mean? 'Cause we're gonna be sitting here and,
And the request for proposals go out.
But we have no agreement for the artist, so it's like we gotta, yeah, it's sort of,
We're getting into the holidays.
yeah.
we're in a pickle.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get these work, I think our vision of them, kind of corresponding with the public festivals of the city. There's a little bit of a difference here in thought processes between the commission.
Right, yeah, because these are all terms that would be especially relevant and important for something that actually would be permanent and like not a performance, which is more of what we were.
And when we do have performances, are the contracts this intense?
I mean, we've never had something like this in place, so I would have to check back with the city attorney on what that would entail. Potentially, it could fit within our standard professional services agreement, if it's for performance.
Like a permanent, work and a more temporary or might have two different contracts that we might need to consider.
Is this a passive way of city council saying that you want everything that is produced for this as permanent, like you need this?
No, in the conversation with the council, I think there was a preference for an open-mindedness to having permanent, but
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily only do permanent.
Could I actually just make a note that if they really sincerely believe that, our budget was probably triple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or we would just need one.
Yeah.
We would.
Yeah.
Wait,
If
we're gonna
that-
cross
if that's
three
if that's their preference.
For what it's worth, if you were to do some kind of a permanent artwork, if you read through this agreement, which this agreement is intended for a 10-year piece of artwork, it says specifically 10 years. I don't know who told them 10 years is it, but they put 10 years in there. They also foist off all of the maintenance, all of the liability and everything on the artist.
Yeah.
So the city does not have to do anything for under this agreement, and the artist has to do everything. And the city, and I'll tell you the particularly galling part, the city says that they can relocate it for public display, if they can relocate it to anywhere they want for any reason or no reason at all in the discretion of the city. that may be true, but that is really freaking heavy-handed, okay? Why would you even say, I don't have to give you a reason, we're just moving it? Is that what an artist-friendly city does? I don't think so. I am happy to speak with city attorney.
We know you are, yes.
Oh, I'm ready.
All for it. You will be
Okay.
talking to him.
Well, it sounds like we're not in agreement to have this passed.
Right.
At the risk of us delaying things further, but I'm also not comfortable with passing this.
No.
So we can reject it.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
you know, in my opinion, we could still put out the, I mean, is the RFP out? Is it in circulation yet?
Not yet.
Okay, because we could certainly do that and follow up, you know, in a week or two with an agreement if we don't have one now. If we were able to get the time and attention of the city attorney.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Whether we can actually ensure that that would happen.
Well, somebody wrote this new one up. This is brand new. This was written specifically for us. And this was just done with somebody picking numbers out of the air, like, okay, it's going to be a 10-year deal and we're not going to pay them. And, you know, it should be a little bit more of a flexible contract that we should be able to use with any project that comes before us that we give out, whether it's an artist that wants to put something up at their own expense, whether it's something that our commission is paying for, the city is paying for. It should be one agreement that kind of fits all things. And I think that we could tailor it that way, but we just need a couple of hours of the attorney's time.
So then, do you guys want to form an ad hoc committee to work with the city attorney on the agreement?
I think that's the best thing. So can I have a motion?
I move that we form a committee to work with the city attorney on an artist agreement.
And the two members would be,
Well, Commissioner Burke.
Someone who will join me in this noble quest.
Yeah.
Are we trying to do this in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'll do most of the heavy lifting on this. I contracts are a thing that I have a lot of experience with. And I am more than happy to do the heavy lift on this.
I can't get out from work. I mean, if there are evening meetings, I could do that, but I don't, can the city attorney meet in the evenings?
If somebody nominally wants to be on the committee with me, I would be happy to do this during the day, which is when the city attorney would probably want to do it. Because I have time.
At night, but I don't know if I can commit during the day. So, I mean, if you need someone to form the committee, I can be that person. I don't know how much help I could.
I think Commissioner Wong just volunteered. Did Commissioner Wong just volunteer?
But I can't do daytime.
I'm going through an intense family crisis. So I have to tap out. I have no availability in the next 2 weeks.
No, that's okay. I think Commissioner Wong just volunteered.
No, I'm fine, but just as long as you know that I can, my availability.
Good enough. We can make that work.
If it doesn't work out, then I'll pretend.
Okay, I'm good.
You sure?
That's several months.
All right, but if it doesn't work out, then I'll.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. All right.
all right, so then all in favor for the ad hoc committee to be comprised of Commissioner Burke and Commissioner Wong?
Aye.
You did the last time, so, I'm like, wow. It's hard for just like this. Thank you both very much. Thank you. So, okay. The next thing is the minutes on the regular October 27th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting? Can I?
I have Madam Chair, I have an amendment to those minutes.
Yes.
Is that the 27th? Yes, October 27th. Under number 4, would you please add that Commissioner Burke asked that the appropriate contract would be delivered to potential artists for our Civic Center project? Because I did ask for that at the time.
I want to say yes.
Okay.
Any other amendments or edits to the minutes? We good? So do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved,
As amended?
as amended.
Okay, anybody second? Commissioner Wong second? All in favor? Aye. Excellent. And wow, that concludes the agenda. No? I missed-
November 8th.
Okay, and also the, November 8th meeting minutes.
Move to approve as presented.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for catching me. You know what I do? Okay, so that concludes the agenda. And then our next meeting is scheduled for January 26th. Right?
And so the request for proposals go out December 10th.
And they're due.
January 11th, award of projects. June 30th completion.
So while the RFPs are going out, we can still amend them. Okay, that's good then. I thought we had to stop everything.
So we just have to have it. We have a deadline, and that's not a bad thing.
Okay.
So the city attorney and the commissions will have to vet out contract by the January 11th deadline.
I have to double check the January 11th deadline, because if we're not meeting until the 26th,
Yeah.
and the commission needs to weigh in on it, we either schedule a special meeting in advance of January 11th, or wait until January 7th.
Yes.
I do have a question in terms of listing and getting the RFQ, RFP out there. I know last time the October meeting, we said, oh, we could assist get actually on arts kind of this sort of stuff. Do we have a strategy, or is it just gonna be just all of us helping promote it?
I think.
We can post it on Planet Biz, and then if you guys can share the link, or even just share the RFP itself. I don't know if there are listservs or if there's other groups or mailing lists that you can share it with.
And since we're not supposed to kind of contact each other on that, so maybe should we spend a few minutes on just strategizing who's gonna do what, just so we don't then, so
I mean,
we're not duplicating our efforts.
Or if it's stuff that I can send to, or if I'm not a member of something, if I can send it, you guys can also send that information to me, and then I can send it to whoever. Not me,
Well, there's like the LA County, and LA City, right, the
And then our own mailing list.
Our own list, LA Culture Net. There's-
I would be happy to supply it to the LA Art Association. I'm very good friends with the director.
I can do LA Culture Net.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's just. Any other places?
Would be okay if you email all of us that are. Okay, and then
we can just disseminate it.
I think for the big ones though, like if you can strategize.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
some small ones.
And there is, this council has stated a an interest in prioritizing local artists, and local means South Pasadena specifically.
It was probably outreach this far.
Yeah.
So I can send it to
Okay.
her.
Does it say on the, I'm looking at the RFP, Does it say that we give preference to South Pasadena artists? And do we have a geographic limitation of where the artist should be from?
It currently
Typically-
doesn't say that.
I'm sorry?
It currently doesn't say that, but we can add that language in.
And do you think that it should be limited to artists in Los Angeles County?
I think it's
I
gonna happen.
Yeah,
That's what we
yeah,
discussed.
we did discuss that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's LA County.
Local.
That's an important thing to say. I think it's important to say that we give preference to South Pasadena artists and that artists are limited to those who live and work in LA County.
Any other comments, questions, or feedback? In that case, do I have, yes, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
One last question. So you're rotating off. Is this your last meeting?
No, I'm
Okay.
just staying until somebody.
Okay,
Right, Steve?
no, I wanted to say thank you and all that. If this is the last meeting.
Well, how long have you been on it?
I finished one right in my term.
So you went on a whole term before?
I finished my whole term.
Because I think she took over for
Commissioner
Commissioner Sawyer.
No,
No.
Commissioner Avila?
Betty.
Yeah.
Oh.
She was on early on just for a brief moment.
But you went on for
Oh.
2 full terms, right? I wonder if maybe make this.
Yeah. Let
I
me
think she
double
also
check.
wants.
Check.
No, might be very good.
I hear another voice in the room. Is that Councilmember Caciotti? I can't-
Jeff, I apologize. I was at
We
the,
can't see you.
I was at the chamber event. I'm over here, Jeff. See my hand?
You're at the, there you are. Hello, what chamber event?
They had an event tonight. The mayor gave her speech and there was a chamber dinner. So I had to sneak out early, but I stayed for a 37-minute speech. It was supposed to be a 20-minute, but the mayor just goes on. So, yes. You guys want to hear anything from the city? You have any questions from the
Do
city?
you have any
Do you have
council
communication?
liaison communication?
I just say, so we've been busy, as you know, that with regards to Attorney Jeff, I know a couple other commissions are hammering him, especially public safety. They're trying to get a safe storage ordinance passed. And some of the commissioners brought us some issues, he's had to do extra research. So they were trying to get it jammed out. He's been jammed the last month. We're actually, probably heard there's litigation against Dow Chemical and what's the other largest chemical company for contamination of our water. We're in settlement negotiations now. And we have to join with the other cities in the San Gabriel Valley and the state. And the litigation is opioid stuff. Otherwise we'll lose out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's been jammed on all those things. So plus the housing, everything updates. So we have, last week I was in a 6-hour metro meeting. And the test, they only call in, they don't tell you where you are on the list. So you had to wait because our things came at the very end. Two big issues I want to testify on were whether they would defund all the law enforcement on the buses, trains. So we argued the city, we want to keep funding, but transition over to more mental health and support services. But in order to train every day, I took the bus almost all just the other day. You need something on there, some presence, and I think there's a lot of debate, but everybody agreed presence. But I brought the point, I haven't seen them sometimes for 6 months, so I'm not really paying for what. I actually saw the first sheriff on Monday, went my third bus out to AQMD meeting. Somebody actually, a sheriff was dropped off in a car, jumped on the bus, down Azusa, all the way down to La Puente Hills Mall, and then the other sheriff picked him up. Only time I've ever seen a sheriff on a bus, and haven't seen one on a train in the last 6 months. So that passed. We're going to start to transition and more money for that type of funding, which is great. The other issue was provide more funding for open streets. We got on the first list, we wanted like 6 or 7. We were at the top of the next list that wasn't funded, but there was a motion made to include some others. So I testified to get that on there. We backed that on. So we're gonna have 2 open streets, one mission at the station to Mission San Gabriel, and then we're gonna close down the Arroyo again like we did in 2003. Take away the Arroyo for hikes and events and stuff like that. So we also met that night for 3 hours later that night. So the recreational lease subcommittee, we're looking at the lease in the Arroyo, the snack bar down there. Over the years, it hasn't kind of fell with disrepair. hasn't made much money.
By the Little League?
No, the one over by the golf course,
Oh,
driving range.
yeah, sure.
So it's been closed for COVID, but it was never making money. I looked at the financials. So we put out a bid for consultants. And he's been working at the city attorney to actually hire consultants to help us pick a good restaurateur. We decided of the 3 or 4, 2 actually came to interview in 3 hours, and we like both of them really good. One lives in Pasadena, he's opened dozens of restaurants here in Vegas. The other works for kind of a national food and beverage golf course type of operation. They'll all be under like around 25,000. So you'll be good. And Jeff, if you have any restaurateurs or you want to get back into business or something, it'll be a great opportunity. We're gonna put that together, and then that'll come up for the council to approve this next Wednesday. Last night I was at the meeting with the National Resources Environmental Commission. We've been working with the police to again electrify our police department. So the police are really on board, and they were grilled by the Natural Resources Commission on the issue of what type of vehicles. So the police came. They want to come before the council, but they're getting natural resources support and Monday morning public safety. But they want to go with an all electric fleet, not just transition. We want immediate transition to all electric fleet. We start off with Teslas. There's a lot of questions. Why didn't you use a VW, maybe Ford, some of the other vehicles? I told them I was on the phone with Detroit with Ford and General Motors just 2 months ago, and I've written letters over the last 5 years demanding electric police cars. They've ignored my letters, they ignored the AQMD. So we said, you know something, Tesla produces a product that's been tested from several cities, 1 or 2 vehicles, we're gonna go all out. We wanna be the first in the nation, possibly the world. So they're on board, working on some more money from AQMD on that too. So a lot of stuff going on in the city. Electric leaf blowers, more demonstrations on that yesterday at the park. So that's moving forward, the ordinance, we tell your gardeners, try to get that. So a lot of stuff in the city, and that's all the stuff. If you have any questions or any issue, please feel free. And I apologize in this meeting. They needed a soccer coach. I have an advanced license, so I couldn't say no. So forgive me. Thank you guys for all your work, and I nitpicked it right there on the Zoom meeting, picking all those contracts apart. And if I'm mayor next year, I would hope to check to see if you can get on. We'd like to keep this group together. You're so talented. It's an honor for me to watch you in action.
Council member, if
Yes,
you
sir.
have, we have been talking right before you got here about trying to get time and attention of the city attorney, and I know that the attorney is very busy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it might be best, we need to draft a better contract because this one is really not appropriate for the immediate needs that we have, and we need to make this happen quickly. If
Yep.
I were just to send a redlined version of the document to the attorney, do you think that would help speed things up?
Yeah, Jeff, and CC me, or just send it to myself and the attorney, and I'll forward it to the city manager. Really, this is up. Although again, the other commissioners are jamming. I got a nasty email from my constituent in Garfield. What's going on? Other cities have adopted this ordinance about there's that school shooting. It's taking so long. It was a commission that pulled it. We wanted to pass it, and the public safety said, we got some issues with this. So we just can't overturn or listen to the commission, attorneys looking at their issues. So the same thing's happening with 12 commissions at the same time. So apologize, you have to do that, and I'll try to push it ahead.
Thank you. I really use your help and support with that. I'll write the best thing I can, but I really am gonna need somebody to put it in front of their nose and make them read it.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Commissioner Burr.
Okay, anything else? Well, I'm glad you made it, and thank you.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
yeah. Really important. So, we don't have any questions anymore, then don't have a motion to adjourn the meeting.